a lot of people are speaking about narcissism and how much that impacts you, and to look out for those dynamics in your relationships that are tearing you down. They're deprecating. Somebody's manipulating a negative perception of you constantly in the dialogue and the dynamic, um, keeping you down, whatever the way that is. Maybe never letting you speak, or it's always about them, or their catastrophes. Everything is just kind of revolving around that are important, never about what you're thinking or saying. Everything related to you could be tense, hostile. It could bring inflammatory. You could have this sense of like being a problem, being always causing stress or trouble for them. You have to be on the defense. It's pretty intense. I've spent the majority of my life having a really close person with really narcissistic behaviors. I've been around a lot of really narcissistic people, in close proximity in relationship, where I was like a caretaker to them, a primary. I was like their primary. Whether there's a partner or a primary relationship as a child in my family of origin, I had plenty of training in this. And I think I'm in a phase where I'm not going to be around that anymore, and I'm speaking kind of in hindsight, which is really great. It's sneaky, really, really nice, kind, wonderful, geniuses, loving people who are wonderful in other ways. They are very narcissistic. These were very sweet people, especially to other people, and that's part of the weirdness of it a lot of times, is that that person's usually really, really an angel or wonderful to a lot of other people, and then they target you, tear you down in private and actually reveal they don't trust anybody really, and they're just like full of all this vulnerability that they can't process, and they just project tons on you all the time. Projection, 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 shame, blame, spate, weird paranoias. I actually have been with people enough who had enough severity of these symptoms that it clarified and crystallized for me. Everyone just was mentally ill. And I found a great peace this year. I'm happy to say that I do not have to be caretaking that. That a blocked, distorted, creative energy, which is a relationship energy, when you're feeding that relationship energy, creative energy still, that turns destructive. Turns into a toxic poison distortion, like the poisoned apple in Myth. And I realized, like, I don't need to be that. And I don't need to be creating that. And I can break the spell of the myth. Like, I don't need to be in any relationships that feel like toxic. And don't owe it to anybody. Never did. Crows are just fighting. I think that what I want to talk about is what it was like for me to have, like, what it gave me to have to go through that. Maybe it's like the crows. It's like I went through situations with people who were loud, vigilant, aggressive, stressed, so sure that their fear and stress was true and the only thing important all the time. Okay? And I caretook a lot of people. I did a lot of caretaking for people in these states of triggered states that were just constant. And I think they all had clinical, probably ADHD and depression and OCD and different kinds of whatever. Doesn't, the thing is, they were all mentally ill. This is actually just people with, it's not a choice. Like, people are going on about, like, oh, well, stay away from them. Like, it's true, stay away from them. But there's this kind of witch hunt that, like, goes with fads all the time. And whatever is popular to talk about often comes with this stinky, like, this group turning on it. And, like, now it's time to cancel narcissists, so we're going to all talk about how bad they are. And I'm like, you know what? Watch out for the noun, for one. We don't want to eclipse people with nouns. The narcissist, okay? The abuser. Like, this is like, okay, the human being who acted abusive in a regressed state when triggered in relationship around survival and intimacy issues with no support. How about let's build a mental health culture together and start referring to the adjectives, like the narcissistic behavior that person took on in that regressed triggered state needed support that was beyond what our relationship could do, and I actually became under attack and had to leave. But that was in full dignity and respect for everyone involved, and amidst a true love that was actually being harmed and held scapegoated and ransomed in that situation, entangled, which is a tragedy. And so we have grief, and we don't need to let it turn to anger. There are stages of grief. We don't need to get crystallized and calcified, stuck and frozen in the fear state form of grief that makes it just stay distorted and stuck in an antagonistic enemy dynamic. The thing is, that was the distortion, and we can end it for ourselves and the other person. And part of, like, if you're an empath or you're somebody like getting, in the situation that I was in, like facing off a lot of narcissism and people and relationships, and these people were really not well. I was a lot of people's scapegoat, in my life. What did it teach me? It taught me, man, oh man. I'm a transgender person. I had to go through initiations, learning pride through humbling. This is one of them too. I mean, I find the world's entitlement in its cisgenderness and heterosexuality incredibly narcissistic. I mean, and I've been scapegoated and blamed too for being a problem, for being an artist, an empath, a healer, an intuitive person, and a queer. All these things are written off by the society as illegitimate and threatening. And now I've been totally betrayed by the entire culture that I'm surrounded by. It's been a huge forgetting too, because trans and queer people are everywhere and always have been. So this is a delusion and a distortion. It's similar to being in an abusive relationship where the narcissistic point of view is holding the relationship hostage in a triggered state, in lockdown, because it's so sure it has to guard something. That survival authority state that gets activated through guardianship is actually the sign of that person's entitlement to whatever dominion they have is getting turned into a police state. We've learned that it has trickled down our psyches and subconscious into what we call lateral violence. And so I'm clear that I put my energy now where it needs to go. And it means leaving. I choose my words. I choose my thoughts about it. I give so much mercy and respect to people who were mentally ill battling those things while being angels here, and then distorted in intimacy, to these states and behaviors. I still love them and grieve that I couldn't have them in my life anymore. And I put my anger there, and I cry, and I make life good and right by allowing it to be with what just is. That's justice. I allow them to be that. I'm not a victim to that. They aren't. We are all healing together and creating a better mental health culture, because we all deserve better. And it needs to be based in dignity and support for everyone involved. And I'm there. 100%. 100% movement, not the 99%. 100% movement. You are me, I am you. Yeah. Blessed be, blessed bees, be well. Ta-ta.